Judy Blume and Freckle Juice. Yeah. Ooh, he has a mustache. Okay, so I'll be back. Nicky has freckles. They all cover their face. His face, his ears, and the whole back of his neck. If Andrew had freckles like Nicky, his mother would never know if his neck was dirty. But how exactly do you get freckles? For 50 cents, know it all. Sharon has the answer, a secret family freckle recipe. 50 cents is a lot of money. But Andrew is desperate. It's not until after he goes home and carefully mixes a strange combination of ingredients that he realized he might be getting more than he paid for. Okay. Yeah, I want to read. Chapter 1. Andrew Marcus has wanted freckles. Nicky Lane has freckles. He about had 1 million of them. They covered his face, his ears, and the back of his neck. Andrew didn't have any freckles. He had 2 warts on his finger, but they didn't do much for him any good at all. If he had freckles like Nicky, his mother would never know if his neck was dirty, so he wouldn't have to wash, and then he'd never be late to school. Andrew had plenty of time to look at Nicky's freckles. He sat right behind him in class. Once he ever tried to count them, but when he got to 86, Miss Kelly called, "Andrew, are you paying attention?" "Yes, Miss Kelly," Andrew said. "Good, Andrew. I'm glad to hear that. Now, will you please pick up your chair and join the reading group? We are waiting for you." And Andrew stood up in a hurry. His reading group giggled, especially Sharon. He couldn't stand that his chair was carried to the counter where his reading group sat. "You may begin, Andrew," Miss Kelly said. "Page 64. Andrew turned the pages in his book. 64. He couldn't find it. The pages stuck together. Why did Miss Kelly have to pick him? Everybody else had their books open to the right page. Sharon kept giggling. She covered her mouth to keep the noise, but Andrew knew that what he was going on. He finally found a page 64 right where it was supposed to be, between pages 63 and 65. And if he had only freckles, he wouldn't have been called on the. She would have to be called when she called the reading groups. Nobody would laugh at him. Later, when the bell rang, Andrew poked Nicky Lane. "What do you want?" Nicky asked, turning around. "I was wondering about your freckles," Andrew said. "Oh yeah? What about them?" Andrew felt pretty stupid. "Well, how did you get them?" "What do you mean, how? You get born with them. That's how. Andrew thought that's what Nicky would say. Line up, boys and girls, Miss Kelly said. Time to go home now. Sharon, you may lead the girls. Andrew, you may lead the boys. Some luck. When he got to be the leader, and he had to stand next to Sharon. When they were in a line, Sharon whispered to Andrew, "Psst, I know how to get them." How to get what? Andrew asked. Freckles, Sharon said. Who asked you? I heard you ask Nicky about it, about his. Sharon ran her tongue along her teeth. She was always doing that. Do you want to know how to get them? Sharon asked. Maybe, Andrew told her. It'll cost you 50 cents. I see a recipe for Freckle Juice, Sharon whispered. A secret recipe. Uh-huh, Sharon's tongue reminded Andrew that frog catching flies. He wondered if Sharon ever got a mouthful of bugs. The way she opened her mouth and wiggled her tongue around, Andrew inspected Sharon's face. You don't even have freckles, he said. Look close. Sharon said, I got 6 on my nose. Big deal. A lot of good 6 will do. You can get as many as you want. 6 was enough for me. It all depends how much freckle juice you drink. Andrew didn't believe Sharon for a minute. Not 1 minute. There was no such thing as freckle juice, and Andrew had never heard of it before. Wait, I just forgot how many chapters there was. Okay. Chapter 2. That night, Andrew had trouble sleeping. He kept thinking about freckle juice. Maybe the reason no one in his family had freckles was because no one knew the secret recipe. If they never had even heard of freckle juice, then how could they have freckles? It figured. Andrew didn't like the idea of paying Sharon for anything, and 50 cents is a lot of money. It's 5 whole weeks of allowance. But he decided that Sharon's recipe didn't work. He would ask the money back. It was easy. The next morning, Andrew turned the combination of his safe bank to the right numbers. For a top and 0 on the bottom. He took out 5 dimes. He wrapped them in a tissue and stuck the whole thing in his pocket. He didn't have time to wash his ears or neck or anything. He wanted to see Sharon before the last bell rang. Bye, Mom, Andrew called. Andrew Marcus, wait a minute, his mother hurried over to him. She almost tripped on her long bathrobe. The curlers in her hair scratched Andrew's face, and she checked his ears and neck. Please, Mom, can we please just skip once? Andrew begged. Miss Marcus stepped away from Andrew. She pointed a finger at him. Okay, she said. I'll let you go this time, but tomorrow I'm looking again. And Andrew, zip up your pants. Andrew looked down. This morning and this afternoon when you come home, I'll be next door. Mrs. Burroughs invited me over to play cards. You come and get the key from me, okay? Sure, Mom, okay. Andrew raced to school. He hardly waited to see the secret recipe. First, he'd look at it, and then it didn't seem any good. He just wouldn't pay. Sharon was already at her desk when Andrew arrived. He went right over to her. Did you bring it? He asked. Bring what? Sharon opened her eyes real wide. You know what? The secret recipe for the Freckle Juice. Oh, I have it. It's right here. And Sharon patted her pocket. Well, let's see it. Do you have the 50 cents? Sharon asked. Sure, right here. Andrew patted his pocket. I'm not going to show it to you until you pay, Sharon said. Andrew shook his head. No. Oh, no. First, I want to see it. Sorry, Andrew. A deal's a deal. Sharon opened her book and pretended to read. Andrew Marcus, Miss Kelly said. Will you please sit? Sit down. The second bell just rang. This morning we'll begin our arithmetic. Nicky, please pass out the yellow paper, and when you get your paper, begin working on the problems on the board. Andrew went to his seat. Then he took the tissue with the 5 dimes out of his pocket. He held it near the floor and aimed it toward Nicky and toward Sharon. She sat in the next row. Sharon stuck out her foot and stepped on the tissue. Then she slid it under so no one could reach it with her hand. She bent down and picked it up. Miss Kelly didn't even notice. Sharon counted the 5 dimes. Then she took a piece of folded up white paper out of her pocket and threw it to Andrew. She landed it in the middle of the aisle. Andrew led the way to pick it up, but he lost his balance and fell off the chair. Everybody laughed except Andrew and Miss Kelly. Miss Kelly sighed. Oh, Andrew, what are you up to now? Bring me that note, please. Andrew picked up the secret note. He didn't even have the chance to see it. It wasn't fair. It cost him 50 cents for nothing. He handed it to Miss Kelly. She read it. She looked up at him. Andrew, you may have this back at 3 o'clock. Then she put it in her desk. I don't want this to happen again. Do you understand? Yes, Miss Kelly, Andrew mumbled. Good. Now let's get that arithmetic done. Miss Kelly wasn't bad. Andrew decided she could have ripped up the recipe or sent him into the principal's office or even made him stand outside in the hall all by himself. Andrew could hardly wait for 3 o'clock to come. He didn't bother counting Nicky Lane's freckles. Soon he'd have his own. When the second bell finally rang, the class marched down the hall. Andrew went back to Miss Kelly. She held a piece of paper and white a white paper and waves it at him. Here's your note, Andrew. I have a feeling it's important to you. But from now on, you must pay attention in class. Andrew took the recipe from Miss Kelly. After tomorrow, I won't have any trouble paying attention. He promised. Just you wait, Miss Kelly. I won't have any trouble at all. Andrew ran all the way home. He remembered the secret recipe of the Freckle Juice that was folded carefully at the bottoms of Andrew's shoe. He was going to put it inside his sock, but he was afraid his foot got sweaty and the ink might blur and he wouldn't be able to read it. So inside his shoe was safe enough. Even if it was windy, nothing could happen to there. He made up his mind not to read it until we got home. He made up his mind. He didn't want to waste any time getting there, and he wasn't the world's fastest reader anyway. Even though he'd gotten better since last fall. Still, might be some hard words. Words will take up to file. Figure it out. Andrew pressed Miss Burrow's doorbell. Hello, Andrew, she said when she opened the door. You're home from school early. I ran all the way, Andrew panted. How about some milk and cookies? But Miss Burrow asked. No, thank you. I just want the key. Well, come in, Andrew. Your mother's in the living room. Andrew followed Miss Burrows. His mother was dealing with a pile of cards. Hi, Mom. I came for the key. Miss Marcus reached... Manners, Andrew. Manners. Don't you say hello to the ladies? Miss Marcus asked. Oh, hello, Andrew said. Miss Marcus reached out of her purse. She opened it and gave Andrew the key. Change your clothes and play outside. I'll be home at 4 o'clock. I'll be home at 4 o'clock. No, sorry. That one gave him an hour. He hoped the recipe didn't say to cook anything. He wasn't allowed to turn on the stove or oven. Andrew dashed to his house, unlocked the front door, and took off his shoe and opened what is inside. He pulled out the secret recipe and sat down on the floor to read it. It said, Sharon's secret recipe for Freckle Juice. 1 glass makes an average amount of freckles. To be like Nicky Lane, drink 2 glasses. Mix it up all these things together. Stir well, drink it fast. Grape juice, vinegar, mustard, mayonnaise, juice from 1 lemon, pepper and salt, ketchup, olive oil, and a speck of onion. P.S. The faster you drink it, the faster you get it. Freckles. Freckles. Andrew read the list twice. It didn't sound like much of a secret recipe. His mother used those things every day. Of course, she didn't want to use them all together. Maybe that was the secret part. Well, he paid 50 cents. He might as well find out. He climbed on his kitchen counter so he could reach the cabinets. He found everything except for a lemon. that was in the refrigerator. And the onion. Miss Marcus kept onions in the basement in a bin. Andrew ran downstairs and selected a small one, since the recipe only called for a speck. With or without the skin, Andrew wondered. He chose a big blue glass. He started just one glassful, and then to drink another if he wanted more freckles. No point in overdoing it the first time. That's what his mother always said. Now first the grape juice, Andrew thought. He filled the glass halfway and added an ice cube. All the drinks taste better if cold, if he would to. Then he added the other ingredients one by one. His mother had two kinds of vinegars, wine vinegar and plain vinegar. Andrew picked the wine one. He put some hot mustard, 1 spoonful of mayonnaise, and plenty of pepper and salt. Then some ketchup. That was hard to pour. But what about olive oil? His mother had vegetable oil, but no olive oil. Maybe that stuff just looked like water in the olive jar that Sharon meant. He puts few spoonfuls of that. Now for the lemon. A seed dropped in by mistake. He picked it out with a spoon. He hated pits in his juice. All he needed was a speck of onion, and he's all set. He stirred the drink and smelled it. Oh, it smells awful. Just plain awful. He'd have to hold his nose while he drank it. He stuck his tongue into the glass to take it. Ugh, terrible. He didn't know how to ever manage to get it down. And fast, too. It said to drink very fast. That old Sharon, she probably thought it wouldn't be able to drink it. Well, he'd show her. He'd drink it all right. Andrew held his nose, tilted his head back, and gulped down Sharon's secret recipe for Freckle Juice. He felt like throwing up. It was not that bad. But if he did never get freckles, no one would be strong. Andrew crept into his mother's bedroom. He didn't feel well enough to walk. He sat on the floor in front of the full-length mirror. He waited for something to happen. Chapter 4. Pretty soon something happened, all right? Andrew turned greenish and felt very sick. His stomach hurt. At 4 o'clock, Miss Marcus came home. "Yoo-hoo, Andrew, where are you?" she called. Andrew heard her, but he couldn't answer. He was too weak. He made a small noise. "Andrew, Marcus, is that you?" His mother stood in the doorway of her bedroom. "What are you doing in here? I told you to play outside. And why didn't you change your clothes? Didn't I tell you to change your clothes?" Andrew made another noise. Miss Marcus looked at his face. "Andrew, you're green. Absolutely green." "Are you sick?" Andrew nodded. He was afraid he'd open his mouth. He'd lose the freckle juice. "What hurts?" Miss Marcus asked, feeling his forehead. Andrew moaned and held his stomach. "Oh my, appendicitis. You might have appendicitis. I might call the doctor. No, I I just drive straight to the hospital. No, I'll just call the ambulance. Andrew shook his head, but his mother didn't notice. She said, "Don't move. I'm going to the kitchen to the phone. I'll be right back." Andrew rolled around, moaning. Miss Marcus came back to the bedroom in a hurry. "Andrew Marcus, I've just seen that mess in the kitchen. Did you or did you not make something to eat it?" "Oh, he forgot to clean up." Now she knew. Well, he did. He didn't care. His stomach was killing him. "Well, young man, I'm surprised at you." "Surprised," Miss Burrows offered. You milk and cookies, and you refused. Then you came home and made yourself and I don't even know and scared me half to death thinking that you had appendicitis. I always thought you were more sensible, Andrew, but I can't believe it." Andrew closed his eyes. "Now, young man, you're going to bed." Andrew thought that this was the best idea he ever heard in a long time. Miss Marcus gave him 2 spoonfuls of pink stuff that tasted like peppermint. Then she tucked him into bed. Maybe the freckles would come out when he was sleeping. Right now, he didn't care much. Whatever came out. He hated Sharon. She done it on purpose, just to get his 50 cents. He'd show her. She'd be sorry someday. He drifted off to sleep. He had a terrible dream. A big green monster made him drink 2 quarters of Freckle Juice 3 times a day. Every time he drank it, the monster got freckles, but Andrew didn't. Andrew woke up sweaty. His stomach full still felt funny. His mother gave him 2 more spoonfuls of that pink stuff, and he fell asleep again. The next day, Andrew stayed home from school. He only looked in the mirror once. No freckles. He wasn't surprised. At noon, he drank some hot tea. He wasn't ever going back to school. Sharon wasn't going to see him without freckles. She thought she was so great. Well, she wasn't going to get a chance to laugh at him. No, sir. But the following day, his mother woke him up and sang, "Time for school, rise and shine. Don't forget to wash your neck and behind your ears." She pulled the covers off of him. "I'm not going to school today," Andrew said. "I'm never going to school again." He hid his head under his pillow. "So, I got a school dropout in 2nd grade. We'll have to do something about that. Here are your clothes. I want to see you up and dressed before I count to 15, or you're going to take 3 baths a day, every day, for the next 10 years. Andrew got dressed. He didn't eat breakfast. He didn't eat a breakfast bun and drank some milk. But he couldn't let Sharon get away with it. He had to do something. Chapter 5. After breakfast, Andrew raced back to his bedroom. He opened his drawer and looked for a brown magic marker. All he could find was a blue one. It was getting late. Blue would have to do, but the magic marker in his lunchbox was headed for school. He stopped 2 blocks before he got there. He studied his stomach, and he stopped 2 blocks before he got there. He studied his reflection in the car window. Then he looked out the magic marker and decorated his whole face and neck with blue dots. Maybe it wouldn't look like Nicky Lane's freckles, but they sure did look like something. Andrew waited until the second bell rang. Then he hurried to his class and sat down. He took out a book and tried to read it. He heard a whole lot of whispers, but he didn't look up. Miss Kelly snapped her fingers. "Let's settle down, children. Stop chattering." Everybody giggled. "What's so funny? What's so funny?" "Lissa, can you tell me the joke?" Lissa stood up. "It's Andrew, Miss Kelly. Just look at Andrew Marcus." "Stand up, Andrew. Let me have a look at you," Miss Kelly said. Andrew stood up. "Good heavens, Andrew. What have you done to yourself?" "I grew freckles, Miss Kelly. That's what." Andrew. And Andrew knew the blue dots looked silly, but he didn't care. He turned toward Sharon and stuck out his tongue. Sharon made a frog face at him. Miss Kelly took a deep breath. "I see," she said. "You may sit down, Andrew. Let's get on with our morning work." At recess, Nicky Lane turned around and said, "Who ever heard of blue freckles?" Andrew didn't answer him. He sat in class all day and looked kind of funny, but she didn't say anything. Then at 2 o'clock, she called him to her desk. "Andrew," Miss Kelly said, "how would you like to use my secret formula for removing freckles?" Her voice was low, not so low that the class couldn't hear. "For free?" Andrew asked. "Oh, yes," Miss Kelly said, "for free." Andrew scratched his head and thought it over. Miss Kelly took a small package out of her desk. She handed it to Andrew. Now, don't open this until you get to the boys' room. Remember, it's a secret formula, okay?" "Okay," Andrew said. He wanted to run to the boys' room, but he knew the rules, no running in the hall, so he walked as fast as he could. He couldn't wait to see what was inside the package. He could really be a thing of freckle remover. As soon as he was inside the boys' room, he unwrapped the package. There was a note. Andrew read it and said, "Turn on the water, wet some magic freckle remover, and rub it on the face. Rinse if magic freckles remover does not work. First time, try again. 3 times should do the job, Miss Kelly." Ha! Miss Kelly knew. She knew the whole time. She knew that his freckles were weren't really freckles, but she didn't tell. Andrew followed Miss Kelly's directions. The magic freckle remover formula smelled like lemons. Andrew had to use it 4 times to get his freckles off. Then he wrapped it up and walked it back to his classroom. Miss Kelly smiled. "Well, Andrew, I see it worked." "Yes, Miss Kelly, it sure did." "You look fine now, Andrew. You know, I think I think you're a handsome boy without freckles. You do? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Miss Kelly, Miss Kelly! Nicky Lane came out, raising his hand and waving it all around. What is it, Nicky? Miss Kelly asked. Could I use your magic freckle remover? Could I? Miss Kelly, I hate my freckles. I hate every single one of them. Andrew couldn't believe it. How could Nicky hate his freckles? They were so neat. Nicky, Miss Kelly said, Andrew didn't look good with freckles. You look wonderful. I'd hate to see you without them. They're a part of you, so I'm going to have to put away the magic formula. I hope I never have to use it again. Well, Andrew thought she never had to use it on him. He was through with freckles. When the class lined up to go home, he heard Sharon whisper to Nicky, I know how to get rid of them. How to get rid of what? Nicky asked. Your freckles. You do? Sure. The secret recipe about removing freckles has been in my family for years. That's how come none of us have any. I'll sell it for you for 50 cents. Then Sharon walked alongside Andrew. Before Andrew could say a word to Sharon, Sharon made a super duper frog face just for him. And okay, any questions? Okay, no questions. Why did Nicky dislike his freckles? Because he had so many of them. All over. Is that freckles or chicken pox? It's fake freckles. Blue freckles? Yes, blue freckles. Have you ever felt that sick? Yes, this one time. Why does he want freckles? Because there's so many fun things you can do with freckles. Should we try to shrink? No, you just make yourself sick. Do you want freckles? So. I always wondered how freckles would look on me, but kind of weird. Okay, that's answering questions. I just not saying that's Freckle Juice? No, it's just a trick to get your 50 cents. Okay. Wait, no, another one more question. What year does this book take place? 50 cents. It's a lot of money. I guess a long time ago. That's all I can say. I don't know exactly, but me. Okay, so thanks for watching. Bye.